Today we reviewed what we did on Tuesday with the straight arm bar from mount. Still had trouble this time with finding the elbow. So a few times I just stopped in the middle, felt around for the elbow, and then pulled it off. But I managed to do it every time. Just finding the elbow is really hard sometimes. Let's see. Then we learned kata gatame, which is a triangle from the mount where you kind of dismount. So I think officially it's from side control. But today we learned it from the mount, and then once you have the hold on, going into side control to put more pressure on. I had a really hard time doing it. And then I found out that it's because my hands were the wrong way. So I had my inside hand facing up and my outside hand facing down. And it should have been the other way. My outside hand should have been palm up and my inside hand should be palm down. And that actually made a huge difference. That little detail. Where one way there was like no pressure and the other way there was enough pressure to choke them out. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy like that. It felt exactly the same to me, but one way the guy was like, he's like, I don't feel anything, and then the other way he's tapping like crazy. Yeah. So triangles in general, I don't really understand how they work. A triangle is when you bring the arm across the front of his body, and then you apply pressure. So there's, I guess, I don't know, the normal triangle where you have his neck in the crook of your knee with the arm going across, and then you exert pressure that way. And then you have this one from side control. There's also a body triangle, which might have been the one we did today also, I'm not exactly sure. And then I think there's one you can do for back control. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably other ones that I don't know. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure how the physics of it work. It's called a triangle because you're exerting pressure on three sides. The guy's arm going across drives his shoulder into one side, and then either your leg or your arm is exerting pressure on the other two. I guess, yeah, so the neck is between the opposite side. So his arm, if it's his left arm coming across, then either your knee or your elbow is controlling the opposite side of his neck. So his arm is one side of the triangle, your forearm or your inside of your calf is another part of the triangle, and then your upper arm or your thigh is the third part of the triangle. I think. Yeah, so I don't know. When I do it, I'm like thinking my way through the whole thing. So I pulled one off in live rolling. Let's see. Today in the rolls went pretty good. Rolled against this girl Lisa that I rolled against before. I had her in north-south, so that's where I am lying on top of her, but we're like facing each other. So like our feet are on opposite ends, and I'm on top of her, and I'm trying to do what's called a paper cutter choke, and it takes a little bit of time for me to set it up. So while I'm doing it, she reaches her legs all the way up and over and like grabs my neck with her legs, which I was not expecting. Like I've had that sort of happen before, but like where they reach up and they catch something, but she literally reached all the way over and like put me in a headlock with her legs while I was like still on top of her. It was just kind of crazy, and like I was like suffocated because the material of her cloth was like in my mouth, and I literally couldn't breathe. It was kind of crazy. Yeah, so I don't know what I mean. I don't think there's that many people that can do that are that flexible. But yeah, just have to be aware of that, I guess. Another time, this other guy, I don't know, he's like much taller than me, much stronger than me. The thing I don't really like rolling around against really tall guys is because they have like ridiculous amounts of leverage. Their arms and legs are just so long that they just have so much torque, and I don't think they even know about it. So he could, I don't know, there's some points where I felt like I don't know, that there was like a lot of force being applied to me, and he was just sort of tossing me around a little. So yeah, I don't know, but he did like a leg lock on me, which I wasn't expecting. Also, I don't think you're supposed to really do them. Well, I don't know. In a tournament, you wouldn't be able to do them. And then he asked me later if I knew leg locks. I was like, no. And I asked him about it, and he was like, because he left a few of them open, and he was like wondering why I didn't take advantage of it. So interesting. I don't know. I've only had one other person try to do a leg lock on me in the gi class. I think it's more of a no-gi kind of technique. But yeah, just interesting. So I was rolling against Leo. Leo usually dominates it. The last few times we've rolled, I feel like he's just letting me get him into bad situations, and then he's trying to get out of it. Yeah, because I don't know, it just feels like he falls backwards sometimes. So it's, I don't know, usually I use him as a gauge for like how much I'm improving, because he's usually like better than me in everything. Like he's faster than me, he's stronger than me, he's more physical than me, and he has better technique, but not like extremely better in all of them, but like, I don't know, like 5 or 10% better in all of them. So usually it's like, if I'm not doing everything perfectly, he crushes me. If I'm doing everything perfectly, I slow him down, or like I hold him off. So before we were rolling, it would be like at the limits of my, I always be like at my limits whenever I was rolling with him. Now it's, I don't know, it's just a little easy, I guess. But I feel like it's because he's like sort of flopping back and just trying to get out of things maybe. But I did sub him. I subbed him Tuesday and I subbed him today. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah. So then also I rolled in Steven, and he put me in. He got me on the back. He got to my back. And I always wondered. So you have, when you have someone in the back, you have one arm. Usually, you have one arm that's under the armpit, and then the other arm is over the armpit. So the one that's under the armpit is like a controlling arm. They stop the person from rotating, from escaping. It's like a stabilizing arm, and then the other arm that's above the armpit, so like around your neck, is like the choking arm. So you use one arm to control and one arm to choke. So the way you're taught to defend it is that you should use both your arms to defend the choking arm, but you should go from the outside. So so the arm is like against you, and then you're pulling it away from you with both your hands. Hopefully with both hands. Other times they could chop one of the arms or something like that. But, so you want to pull away from it. So I always wondered, why don't you get the arm inside and push away from you? Because I would think that pushing would be stronger, and also you're keeping something in between you and the choking arm. So I did that today against Steven, and I kind of like wrist locked myself. So when he pulled, I couldn't really stop the pull anyway, and it flexed my wrist back. So it didn't actually help at all. So now I know why you need to pull instead of push there. Yeah, I think that's it.